wanted to go through one of our visualizations that we had about COVID spread from last time. This particular visualization is a little bit different in that we'll look at things by county instead of by state. And the color that we have is indicative of the percent of the population in the county that has tested positive. So if it shows up as a light blue, that means that a fairly low percentage of the people in that county have a positive diagnosis. And then you get up all the way to about 0.2%. It begins to darken a bit into an orange color. 0.2% is the measure at which Italy shut down and declared a lockdown. And it can go significantly higher than that, really in our data to above 1%. So let's go ahead and let it roll. So this data goes back as far as January, and we see the initial looks in LA and in snowish, a little bit in Chicago as well. In just a bit, we'll see the case show up in San Antonio right here. And then as February goes on, we see some other counties popping up in California, Washington State, and just beginning to make it into the major metro centers on the western portion of the United States. Then once March rolls around, this is when we begin seeing it pop up in all major metro areas within the US. And so we see that by about mid-March, and then by the end of March, we'll see this really spread out to just about all population centers within the United States. And now we're also beginning to see a few things. So I'm just going to pause it here at the end of March for a second and call your attention to a few things. So here we've already seen that outbreak in Westchester when we're at about 10,000 cases at the end of March, beginning to see that expansion out in Nassau County as well. But there are a few other outbreaks I want to call your attention to, and then also one outlier. So we're beginning to see things percolate in the New Orleans area. It's about 2 weeks after Mardi Gras. And then also, interestingly, there's this group down in Southwest Georgia that is interesting to keep an eye on. And then we'll also see a bit in Colorado and out here in Idaho. But what's interesting there is that those are really small counties. So just a bit of an outbreak in really just one town there of a couple hundred cases can really push those numbers up. So what I'd advise in April, kind of keep your eye here, here, and here. So we see that rapid expansion on the Northeast seaboard, and then things are becoming really pretty significant here in Southwest Georgia. And then there's a lightening really going on throughout Louisiana until we get to the end of April, and we see that the case percentages in terms of percentage of population is pretty high throughout Massachusetts, downstate New York, Connecticut, eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, really quite a grouping in Georgia. Southern Louisiana, New Orleans area is highly impacted. And there are some other areas that are impacted as well. But then kind of interestingly, we don't see a lot going on in California or in Washington State or really all that much in Texas, except for kind of a few outliers here in some really small counties, kind of with the exception of Moore. All right, thanks.